my mother and dad, but I took my father's brother's name and his wife, Lud and Marie. I just love the name Lud. It's not Ludlow or Ludwig or anything like that. It's Lud.
Yeah.
And you know, just because, well, Lily Mae and Guy would have been hard to do. I mean, it doesn't have the same cadence.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and I love those characters. I love them.
Did your dad get to see any of your success?
He saw me on Laugh-In.
Oh, well.
Yeah, and he was so tickled. And like when I was a little girl, my father he'd be watching the television, there'd be hula dancers on, and he'd say, and I'd go in there and sit with him, and he'd say, "Look at him, shake it, babe." So that left such an impression on me. In all my books, I had drawn hula girls.
Oh.
Toward the end of my dad's life, they moved to Fort Wayne because his factory was sold.
Oh. Yeah.
And he wanted to keep his job. Okay, so when I came down after being on Laugh-In, I'd only been on 2 or 3 times, and the season went on, but so I went out to see my mom and my dad, and he took us out to eat, which he'd never done in my entire life.
Wow.
And he took us to a place that had a bowling alley next door.
Oh, that's fun.
And you could get, ribs, chicken, and shrimp in a plastic basket.
Yeah.
And my dad always sat like with his legs outside the table, like he was going to take off as soon as he could. And so, and there was a boy and girl there from Chicago singing and playing the piano. And so they came over, they recognized me. First a waitress came over and my dad says, "Who do you think that is?" pointing to me. And the woman says, "Well, I guess that's your daughter." He said, "You're damn right. Get up and sing a song, babe." And I said, "Papa, please don't make me do it. Babe, get up and sing a song for the people. You got to learn how to be popular." And so then the boy came over and he said, "Sir, would you like us to play a song?" He said, "Son, do you know Froggy went a courtin'?" And then he sings a whole song for the kid, and the boy said, "I don't think I know that song." He says, "Froggy went a courtin', It was so great.
Well, you got to be a singer later in Prairie Home Companion.
Well, yes, I did. I sang in a couple of my specials, too, but...
Yeah, that's true. And you did a duet with Barry Manilow.
Oh, I did?
It's on one of his records.
That's right.
And you can get that on iTunes, folks. And
Yes.
it's still out there. And so you've done some singing. He was training you right.
Well, I could have sung if I'd taken lessons early on.
Well,
Like when I sang for Prairie Home Companion, I was singing, I practiced for like 3 months because I had to sing the harmony.
Yes, that's the hard part.
And so I called Altman and I said, "Bob, I don't think I don't think Rhonda's going to be able to sing well." He said, "If she can't sing well, she can't sing well." He was always like that. He just rolled with it.
Yeah, I loved his movies because of that. I mean, there was such a realness. I saw one of his movies the other night, Come Back to the Five and Dime, Jimmy Dean,
Oh, yeah.
and all those great actresses were in that. And, when you were talking about Grace and Frankie earlier, about how mature women on television again, and you've brought that, or roles is what I'm saying, that they don't offer a lot of.
But we are. Are you kidding?
I love that. I especially love that. I'm not for the younger ones that much, and I don't know who they are. But but you've had like Mary Jane Harding. Is that it right? Marsha J.
Oh, Marsha J. Harding.
Marsha Gay Harden. I said her name wrong. And Mary Kay Place. That's where I was putting them together. All those. They've come in, Estelle Parsons, and had different parts in the show. And I think it's wonderful.
She just keeps on rolling.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
Yeah, I love how but they're adding that you're giving other actresses that it's harder to find roles for too, because it's a competition out there.
I don't think we think that way. I think we just try to get someone
who's good
for the part.
Yeah. Well, I guess their friends would have to be though close in age, don't you?
Yeah, they would be.
Yeah.
Although Jane and I look fairly young, much younger than our age, so the people could be a little younger.
You did. Well, I was, Jane, when you speak about Jane, I mean, she's looking better than I think she looked even when she was started.
Yeah, she looks wonderful.
And she looks really good. And you are gorgeous. You've never changed. You're like the most consistent celebrity that there is. I mean, a lot of people say that about you. I think that's why we don't realize how long you've been doing what you've done, because you stayed so youthful.
I mean, I know I'm kind of youthful in my attitude and everything.
Yeah, my mother, when we first saw you at Dollywood in person.
Really?
You were there as 92, and I was a little boy, and my mom was just saying, "Now, that's the lady you ought to be attracted to instead of Dolly. She's a nice-looking lady. She's so classy." And I said, "Well, look, she's in the movie with Dolly." I know, and she knows how to dress, and she's got pretty skin, and she knows.
And she said that about
said that
Dolly.
No, about you. Well,
No.
yeah. But I saw you right after that. I was young, still a kid, and we saw The Search at Macaulay Theater. It used to be the Brown, and they changed the names off and on, in Louisville, Kentucky. And I was in the balcony. There wasn't as many. I mean, it was full, but I mean, the whole balcony, you couldn't see all of them, obviously, is what I'm trying to say. But you saw the whole bottom, and they all stood up and gave you a standing ovation. And I was up in the thing, looking, and you said, "And to the little boy in the balcony."
Oh, stop!
That's honest
Is that
truth.
right?
That's honest
Oh,
truth.
that's so great.
And my first movie that I ever loved was The Incredible Shrinking Woman. And to me, when I got to know you,
And then you bought the nurse's outfit, didn't you?
yes, that was from the Beverly Hillbillies, though.
Oh,
yeah,
that's right.
I bought. You remember that? Yeah.
Yes.
And you wrote me this. You remember what you wrote on the note?
No.
I hope it looks as good on you as it did Mrs. Hathaway. Then I was married at the time too, and you said, "I'm going to give you another one in case you don't like that one." And you said, "I hope you and my ex, you can use this for a doctor nurse fantasy."
Did I really?
Yeah.
Oh,
And it's hanging in the. I had
you
it
were a
framed.
little boy then. You were.
No, I was grown then. Oh yeah, I was an old man by then. but my kids.
Because your mother would have taken a stick to me, talking in that vein. My Ernestine album, I used to have on the Ernestine album, there was an obscene phone call.
Yeah.
So a woman brings her child backstage, and she says, "Oh, Dickie, do Ernestine for Lily." So I thought, well, he'll do some just like that. And he launches into the obscene phone call. He was about 7 years old, and I'm looking over his head at his mother. My eyes are getting bigger and bigger. So I had to face the music.
Well, if it's funny, it's funny. And little kids, when they do it, it's really funny.
It's really funny.
Because we want to see them do
I don't
better.
know I don't think he understood it
Of course
exactly.
not. Yeah, no. But even Edith Ann, she kind of alluded to things, a little bit.
Well,
too,
Edith Ann just speaks straight out.
Yeah.
About fundamental physical things like where do babies come from and stuff like that, because and I believed in Santa Claus till I was about 10 years old. I must have been really in a case. But I did not want to believe that there wasn't a Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And I have a picture of me and Richard, my brother, and I'm about 9. I've got big old earmuffs on, and Richard must be 5 or something. And he's like dreamy, he's always so dreamy, and he's like got his eyes, and he's talking like that to Santa Claus, what he wants for Christmas. And Santa and I are looking at each other over his head like, I know Santa, but he believes, It's really...
When I found out, I thought, I'm not going to let anybody know that there's no Santa in my family, because I came from a divorced family. So I had Santa here, I had Santa there. I played that up all the way until I was walking down the aisle getting married.
Aww.
Almost, yeah, because I married so young. But I really appreciate you doing this and being here with me. I know you got so many things that you've got to do.
I loved it. We can do it another time.
Subscribe.